Huh? Roy, give me a thumbs up when we're rolling. We're rolling. Well, good morning and welcome to everyone. For those of you who joined us in worship this morning and those who are joining us online, we want to say welcome to you. You know, I was just thinking, as we have moved through this renovation project, I have reflected a number of times on just how it got started, and I want to share just a small portion of it, and that is several years ago, and somebody's going to have to help me if they remember the year Dell Grosser died. You may remember she died suddenly and was just devastating to this congregation. She was one of the true spiritual leaders of this congregation. And hospitality was one of the things that was most important to her. She made sure that we had coffee here every week, and she just was, there were a lot of things that were important to Dell, but hospitality was one of them. And after Dell died, we found that she had left a gift for this congregation, and in conversation with her family, it was determined that we should, in fact, spend it on some form of hospitality. And so we began to think about how can we improve our coffee hospitality. And we began to think about that. About the same time, Bob Magnuson died. And Bob also, or his family, left a portion of his estate to Epiphany, and we decided to put those gifts together and begin to think about a way that our building could be improved, and especially our ministry of hospitality. And so we began to think about how we could spend those gifts, and eventually we said, well, you know, while we're at it, why don't we let's redo the Epiphany Center. And then after a while, we said, well, while we're at the Epiphany Center, why don't we, you know, and then we finally said, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the whole facility, and let's see what we can do. Well, I won't go through all of the history of that, but here we are. And we are at a point where we have committed ourselves through our gifts and through an awful lot of time and energy put into this to improving our facilities so that it can be safer, more beautiful, and more inviting, and more useful for not only for this congregation, but for those who use our building in the community. So, we are here because your congregation council has recommendations that we'd like to put before you. But before we get to that, let's bow our heads as we begin with a word of prayer. Gracious God, we don't always think about the place where we do ministry. We often think that what we do, the actions we take, and the plans we make and the programs we create are the most important. And sometimes we think they're the only thing that we have to do your work in a certain place. But we're aware that everything we do is in a place. And we know that you have given us this building as a gift so that we might indeed do your work more effectively and efficiently in this neighborhood. So as we consider how we might better use this building, the facility that you've given to us as a gift, we pray that you would be with us, that you would give us wisdom and insight, that you would give us caution where that is needed, and that you would give us a sense of faith and adventure where that is called for. So be with us now and give us what you see that we need. For Christ's sake we pray. Amen. Well, this is going to be pretty simple. The format of this is going to be pretty simple. We have 10 or 15 folks that are gathered here in the sanctuary, and I'm going to just simply go over the recommendation that the council has made. Hopefully all of you have received the information in the mail. If you have not, let us know and we will provide that to you. The recommendation from the council is that the budget for the renovation project be set at $2,850,000. That is about $250,000 higher. It's actually $350,000 higher than the action taken by the congregation last year. So the recommendation is to increase the amount of the budget for renovation to $2,850,000. In order to do that, we would need to increase the debt limit to $850,000. We have received right at $2 million in gifts and pledges to our Rejoice and Renew campaign, and those gifts are coming in as pledged. So we feel confident about the receipt of $2 million, and then we would need to authorize a debt limit of $850,000. Now, previously, the Finance Committee and the Council had agreed that we would only like to have a permanent debt when all is said and done, when the building is finished, and when all the bills are paid, that we would only incur a permanent debt of $600,000. And so in order to do that, we would need to increase, we would want to authorize what we're calling a second mile appeal. That is to go to the congregation and appeal for an additional $250,000 in cash gifts. So those are the proposals. There'll be three parts of it. One is set the budget for the meeting for the project at $2,850,000, to increase the authorized debt limit to $850,000. That allows us to go ahead and move quickly on the project. And then the third piece is to authorize a second mile appeal for $250,000. Well, I'm going to turn it over now to Chip Johnson. Chip has been sort of spearheading this project for a couple of years now, a couple of years as president, and now that he's the retired, the immediate past president, I should say, he has continued to provide incredible work, much valued work, working with our architects and liaison between the building program and council. So Chip, it's all yours.
Thank you. Well, good morning or afternoon to everyone, as it's nearing that time. First, I would like to say that it truly has been a process, and an interesting one, over the past 2+ years. We have been extremely fortunate in the fact that we had a committee, the church had a committee, a renovation committee, and I want to acknowledge those people, because without them we wouldn't be at this particular point. First of all is Marty Jensen, who is here. He can answer all of the technical questions that I can't answer, if there are some. Believe me, nothing could have happened without his expertise. And we had Keely Witzel, and John Pozick was really instrumental in the beginning of the process, and Tom Connolly, and of course Ron Feltman. And we also involved Joe Witzel, or Marty did, in trying to bring some costs down and getting some discounts dealing with the electrical situations that we had. One thing I wanted to say is people are saying, or I have been asked, okay, where did you start out with money? What was your projection? What did you think when we got the estimates of working with Archon? And Archon, by the way, has just been tremendous to work with. They really are a good firm. And originally, we had hoped for something around 2.5 million, as you know. And so we had an estimate of 2.5. Then the estimate, because of the building costs, the material costs, as you all know, food costs are up, everything is up. For cars, people wanting new cars, you can't get the chips that they need to have them run the way we want them to run, and everything has been delayed. Well, that affected all of us. So then we had one estimate at 258. Then it actually went down a little bit to 256, then 26, then 29 was the most recent one. However, that was just on what we thought was the minimum of what we wanted to accomplish. In fact, we added many alternates. Let's ask for the wish list. And we did that initially so we would have what we thought was what we needed to operate, but then also all other things. And that turned out starting long ago at 2.9, then 3.1, then 3.2, and then finally $3.8 million. And that was when our committee came in. Our committee met twice. We did some things like value engineering, which is looking at the materials we use, and they're all quality. And we ended up with 2 meetings, and Pastor Ron, of course, was right there, instrumental in it, of getting down to the 2.85 million. So now I think what I would like to do maybe is I can go through what we're going to do, and then I can also mention maybe some of the things that were in our alternatives in our wish list, if you'd like me to go through it. So how about the pictures, Roy? And this is actually going to be talking from the renovation plan that Ron sent out this past week. All of us, one thing I would like to say, all of us need to see construction start. We've been waiting for this for 2+ years and it's time. So here is the outside entrances. The new parking lot, as you all know, has been completed. There'll be a new Villette Street entrance here. That will not be a handicapped entrance, however. We'll have a new south entrance. Let's see what other pictures we have up there for you. Yeah, that's a good way to take a look at it. That's the old system, no, that's the new one. With the new south entrance from the parking lot, that will be, that particular entrance will go into the ACC area and will be handicapped accessible as well as you take a look. You want to move to the hillside entrance there? No, on the other, there you go. That also will be a handicapped entrance as well. Now we go into where the chapel is. That will have a new entrance, and that will be handicap accessible. Now, where Pastor Ron goes in, usually when he comes to church, and that there will be a new entrance there. And it'll be moved to the left. Remember, the other entrance was so close to those stairs, and there was step up and step down and all of that. Well, that now will all be leveled. And the stairs going downstairs will be made accessible, leveled out in that area. We will, I'm going off the list that Ron sent out. Let me just see here. There'll be new, all around the outside on the top will be new parapet overhang around the top edge of the building, which will hide the air conditioning units as well. And of course, as you all know, we're going to be putting a new roof on that west wing and new air conditioning units in that wing. Let's go to an inside portion of it. Okay, that is the way the new structure will look when it is completed. Now on the inside, that's we'll find it. Well, that's where the new coffee area is going to be, right inside the Vallette entrance. And you all have seen those pictures before, and that will stay. But inside in the total overall area, we have, as you are watching right now, those at home, we have a new audio video system that has already been completed. Expansion of our gathering place in the north section will be made with the new south entrance and the north entrances. There'll be a cafe there. At one point I called it the Dell Center or the Dell Bar, but it really was Bob Magnuson as well who's in that. So maybe we'll call it the Dell and Bob place. I don't know. We'll see. We will have new flooring, lighting, and ceiling in the old gym area where the basketball basket is. We will have new flooring, lighting, and ceiling in the west wing as well. We will reconfigure the adult daycare center where the part that is towards the library, that will become a conference room. And then the office for the ACC director will be actually in that opening area there when you come in the main door of the south entrance. Right to the left, that will be the new office so that she can operate there separate from the other part. We will have new carpet and paint in the Epiphany Center. We will relocate the stained glass windows, will be in where the chapel is now, but most of them along the one wall, the west wall of what presently is the chapel. We also are required by the city, and we haven't talked about this, but they are requiring that we have a fire sprinkling system increased and enlarged for the whole building. That was a major expense that the city required us to do. Downstairs, we made a commitment to the Sunday school area, and so we are going to redo, as we have always planned, the 3 kindergarten, or what I call primary rooms. They're going to be redone with new flooring, new ceilings and lighting systems, and the partitions will be replaced. 2 of those partitions, and they're big ones that are hard to move, and that we've been able to secure that. Also downstairs, we will have a brand new LYO room. We're going to take 2 of the classrooms, and we're going to be able to make that into an LYO room that's really going to be something for the youth of the church, and it will get them out of what we used to have, the balcony up there that used to be the choir area long ago. Downstairs, as we were going also, we are going to be redoing the fellowship hall bathrooms, the washrooms. They're going to be completely redone and up to code because, well, they're not very good right now for those who have ever been down there. And we don't go there too often anymore. But also we are having an elevator put in. And that elevator will be, well, if you're the stairs that go up to the balcony, you're right by the usher's closet, the outside of that building is where the elevator will be. And it'll be able to connect, obviously, this floor and downstairs and make sure that Fellowship Hall will be used the way it's supposed to be used in the future. Those are the things that we are going to do, and they really seem to be the minimum kinds of things that we need. Some of the things that we had to eliminate, and I will go over some of them, and some people aren't going to like some of them. It isn't all of them, because we had to restructure. This renovation committee did just a great job doing that, and with Pastor Ron. The air conditioning for the basement had to be eliminated. There was a new kitchen area that we were going to do. That has been eliminated. We were going to update all the hallways downstairs, the ceiling, the floors, not the floors, but the ceilings, and all of the classrooms painted and all of that. And so that we had to eliminate, but make sure that we did the primary area, because we promised the teachers that. The washrooms up here, And the other set of washrooms downstairs, we could not do that. The cost of that was prohibitive with coming up with all the new codes and everything, but we can leave things the way they are. We did some fixture modifications in the bathroom and the washroom that we're going to be doing downstairs. More traditional bathrooms. I know Marty had wanted, we had looked into engineering of what was it? I got to find it here. I'll find it here. The stormwater mitigation and all of that we would have loved to have been able to do, and put a gas generator in that would, so he doesn't have to come here when the power goes out at midnight or 1 in the morning like he's had to do. But that area alone was like $100,000 guesswork. And so we had to eliminate a lot of those. So those are some of the things. We were going to redo the library, but we're leaving that. Luckily, we had a scout did a great project there to kind of upgrade the shelves in there, and that was wonderful. But we're not going to like put a new ceiling in there and that kind of thing. Let me see if there's other things we want to talk about. That is generally the areas that are done. Well, one thing, the handicap entrances will have electronics in them, so that there'll be true handicap entrances, the 3 that we have. Also, on energy saving wise, and this was really at the insistence of Marty Jensen, is that, and it's the right thing to do, there will be vestibules at all entrances to this church now. So you're coming in, it's an energy saving area. The city also wanted it and required it, and that will be done in all of the entrances. So you'll be walking from the outside into a smaller vestibule and then into the building. So you're going to save all the energy that will come back in the long run. So that is basically where we are. The 2.85 that we came to as a committee, and ultimately the council agreed, was what we considered and virtually the bare minimum to get where we want to be. What we want to be to do the things that will help this church go forward. There's no question about the people will be happy with this. Our goal, if this is approved next Sunday, our goal would be to start probably within weeks of that. The contractors are ready to go right now. They're just waiting for the approval. In fact, if we had the approval today, which we couldn't do, the architect would be right on it tomorrow. So the architect next Monday after that meeting, and I certainly hope it will go through as a support and positive, they will immediately notify the architects and have contracts signed, and then we will sign the contract, and then the construction will start. And just so you know, and I think I put this out in newsletter, the very first thing that's going to be done is that new south entrance where we have where the chapel is now. That will be the first side, and they're going to start working on the basement as well and the elevator. So that's how that's going to be done. They'll do that side. You're going to see construction walls go up. You'll probably have to use this entrance and the hillside entrance, for a while. You'll come in there and you're going to see construction walls, and then when that's done, that comes down, and then we'll be using those entrances as the new front entrance is put in and the hallway is finished. So they do have a pattern and a scenario for which comes first, what goes second, third, fourth, that type of thing. So I don't know, Ron, have I covered a lot of things? Marty, is there something else you would like you to cover, me to cover? Questions, please. We can't get any from the other, outside of here, but please ask them. But they can send questions too. I think they can call, right?
If those who are watching online have a question, if you will simply put it in the comments section, and then Roy is monitoring that, and he'll be able to let us know. And those of you who are present, if you have a question so that people online can hear you, we need you to use a microphone.
Yeah, Chip.
Yes.
Oh.
But we can hear your voice, you know that, Phil.
Yeah, Jackie is.
Oh,
It doesn't have a fingernail.
Yeah. Here we go.
I can repeat the question. Oh,
try that.
Thank you. Yeah, that'll work. Governor, a couple of questions.
Sure.
The first one, now maybe I'm misunderstanding something that you had said earlier regarding the washrooms upstairs here. The
Right.
washrooms on the main level. I got the impression that none of them will be handicapped accessible. Did you say that it would cost too much to
no, we're
have-
not redoing those washrooms because of finances. They're accessible
Are they?
semi now. They're
No,
not
they're not.
considered legal. They're kind of this way.
Yeah.
And if we touched one, we would have had to touch them all, from what I was told by the architect. So that's why that's going to have to be another project and another for somebody else. But we just can't afford it now. But the handicap ones will be downstairs accessible
Right.
by the elevator for future.
Right.
There you go.
Future plans. Always have to have future plans.
You always are going to have future plans, you know
Right.
that.
Now, I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. I hate to do this, but I think for the sake of what we're getting into, it's necessary. If next Sunday's vote, thumbs down, okay, how would that affect our original renovation plan? If they vote no next Sunday for the additional
Right.
monies, what effect would that have on the initial renovation?
Well, the initial
Lines.
reaction, there'll be a lot of crying by the renovation committee. We will be very sad. I really have, I have faith that the congregation will approve it. I really do. But then what would have to happen is the renovation committee would go back with the architect and and pastor to go over, okay, people, what else now? What do we need to do? But I'm very positive when they see the plans, and each one of those items that I went through, as you walk around the church, they're needed. There isn't any question about it. And it's hard to pick one without the other. Do you want to not paint a room? Do you want to, because you're talking a couple $100,000.
All of these were in the budget, were affordable 6 months ago.
Oh, that's a good point. I will repeat that. What he was saying.
This is about inflation, this rapid inflation.
Yeah.
That's what all this is.
This was the original plan that we presented. That was the original 2.4, really, we say 2.5, but remember, the 2.5 includes all the fees and architect fees and construction management and all of that, and the fundraising that we did. So that was all in it. What we have done since then, part of it is you may have changed some of the material. That's all. But we can't change any more from this original plan. We don't want to do that. Ron?
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to just make sure that we acknowledge the fact that the congregation does have a choice.
Absolutely.
The congregation can choose not to. We have said all along that the congregation will have to approve the project. So that's, I don't want you to feel like this is a railroad job. This is just this is the best that the renovation committee can do. And but the congregation has the option of not approving it. If they don't approve it, then the council would have to go back and say, okay, then what do we want to do? We would probably, in the letter we mentioned 3 possibilities. One is to just stop the project. That would be one option. The other option would be to lop off one of the major things, to to get, we'd have to assess where the congregation is comfortable. That would probably mean eliminating one of the entrances, the elevator, that sort of thing. So we just have to rethink it. We just have to rethink it. Yeah.
And then the cost will continue to go
Yeah.
up.
And you mentioned, I think another thing that's important, you mentioned the original plan. What is being presented is less than the original plan. It's the price that has gone up. So, yeah. But that's a good question. It's a good question.
We have an online comment.
Sure.
Chip. Chuck Sutton was asking for clarification. When you said items had been eliminated, does that mean they're being deferred until such time that we are ready with available funds to start those parts?
Does that mean if it was,
Yeah. So the question
So
is,
will we,
if they're totally eliminated, or they're...
it's deferred, not eliminated?
Okay.
Deferred is a better word, yeah.
Perfect.
It was a good question, by the way. Yes, we do definitely have the plan.
So the bathroom is fine.
One thing while she's getting her mic, we were very fortunate, by the way, to have many contractors send in bids. We were very, very fortunate. Archon was very pleased. We even, through Marty, even asked some of the contractors that he was involved with at Hines and in past projects and all of that, and some of them applied and some of them didn't make bids. But we really were very fortunate with the number of bidders that we received. Yes?
Pastor Ron mentioned permanent debt. Could you please explain what that means?
yes. Roy, I don't know where you want me. I'm sorry. All right. Yes, permanent debt is used to distinguish like a regular mortgage. Permanent, not meaning until the Lord comes, hopefully, but just a permanent mortgage. So there's going to be some borrowing. Any of you who built like a house, there's a construction loan, and there's kind of give and take in terms of paying contractors and that sort of thing. So we have a line of credit with the Mission Investment Fund, and so the exact amount of debt will vary during the construction period. But when I say permanent, it's actually I think a 15-year mortgage. So that's, yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Roy, any other questions coming in? Okay, that was the only question.
Yeah. Any other questions here?
Idea?
How long will it take? Depends on who you ask. We are hoping, well, I also think we have to, the answer to that is longer than we think it's going to. That's my experience. I would have thought we would have been enjoying it by now. Yes, and someone mentioned that we need to make sure that everybody understands the permits are ready to go. I had suggested to the architects that they have some contractors with trucks outside in the parking lot ready to go on Sunday afternoon if it should pass. I don't think that's going to happen, but they're raring to go. The city has approved all the projects, so everybody's ready to go and waiting on us. What was the question? How long is it going to take? We are hoping it's going to be done by the end of the year. The architect says 12 months.
We didn't like that answer.
Marty ever the realist. Experience. What's your guess? 12 months? Yeah, Marty said 12 months.
There's multiple phases.
Right. There, yeah. It has to be done in different phases.
Building down, so it's,
Right. Yeah.
you can turn the building over, the whole thing over to the factory, come back
Right.
3 to 6 months later, and done.
Right. Tom Connolly is mentioning that we're not able to just close the building down. We are going to be using the building, although minimally so, mostly for worship, and then also we may have to close down the office for a little bit. We're hoping that's in prime golf season, but we're not 100% sure if that's going to be. No, we've gotten good at working at home, so they're going to be doing some work. They're going to be doing some asbestos work, which is the primary time where we have to get out of it. Yes, the tile. And where's the asbestos, Marty? It is in the tile.
Floor tile mask and the mastic, and some of the pipes that are going to be disturbed in asbestos installation.
The tile that is in the entryway and down the west wing.
Correct.
The mastic in the floor, whatever mastic means. Is that the glue? All right, the glue. So that
Some of the plumbing pipes are insulated with asbestos.
some of the plumbing pipes are insulated with asbestos. So there is going to be some abatement that has to be done, and we'll probably, and it'll be right in front of the office, so we'll have to. So anyway, but yeah. Right. Yeah. So anyway, we don't anticipate any disruption of worship, at least in terms of having to cancel worship. You might have to wander around some construction walls or something. Right. Yeah. Might not be carpet on the floor or something. So. Okay. Any others? I didn't mean to take your job, Chip.
That's fine.
Any other questions?
That's fine. It wasn't my job anyway. It's all of ours. It's all of ours. One thing I just want to remind people, finally, before Ron can end the meeting with a prayer, please, we need to have, I'm hoping, more than 50 people here next Sunday, here in the church and around it with the masks and everything. And but we really feel that we need to have people here. Plus, there'll be more questions, I'm sure, and it'll be good to be able to answer those as well, and then prayerfully consider what the council is recommending for our church's future. So that's all. Just see you next Sunday.
Okay. And again, remember, this is your decision. The people who have had their hands in this decision up to this point are simply the people who are doing the work to see what's possible. But each one of you have an opportunity to speak to that. And we invite you to be here, to speak your mind, to vote as you feel led to vote. It is a congregational decision. We've said that all along. We've said that all along, and it's true right now as well. Okay, any other questions? Roy, no more comments or questions? Well, I'm going to invite those who are here to stand, and we will close by the praying of the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Go in peace, serve the Lord.
Thanks.
See you next week. Goodbye to those of you who joined us online.